We've been at art today, and that's why the thumbnail is of me in a mask. We arrived outside and encountered two fellow students who'd got colds and coughs and had still decided to bring themselves and their germs to art. That really pisses me off. It really pisses me off that people just don't think about other people. They just think about themselves, and they think it's okay to come along and spread their germs to everybody else in the room. Really pisses me off. So luckily we were outside when we encountered them. We were still in the road, so we've got masks in the car, so I got us both out masks and we put masks on, and made me laugh because Mark went, "Oh, I've got to work out how to put this around my glasses," because he didn't wear glasses all the time. So I went, I hate this saying, "Welcome to my world." So he had to work out how to wear a mask with glasses without steaming up, which is a bit of a thing that you get used to. So I wasn't happy about that. For the first 10 minutes, I'm struggling with the whole idea of, oh my God, I've got 2 hours of this with this mask on. Well, my paranoia starts to rise because I supposedly have a suppressed immune system. But more important at the moment is that Mark's surgery is in 11 days' time. So we can't afford to be ill. I can't afford to be ill because I don't want to pass anything on to him, and he can't afford to be ill and then end up not being able to go into hospital. So it just was pushing all my buttons. And I think that one of the students realised that I wasn't happy. She came over to take one of the pastels from the pot that was next to me, and she's hanging over my coffee. I moved my coffee, and then she moved, and it was like, fuck off. So, and I know that my mask in the thumbnail is going to piss people off. Well, they can fuck off. I don't care. I believe in, the coronavirus is on the rise again. There's a lot of it about, as people say, it's that time of year, this flu, obviously. I want Mark to be able to have his surgery in a few days' time. So I read something, a friend of mine, Chris, a virtual friend of mine, Chris, has been waiting 9 years for, I think it's a hip operation. 9 years. Yeah, Mark's been waiting, 2 months, 3 months for his knee? 9 years. So she runs a centre for complementary therapies, and she decided this week that she would cancel. She wouldn't go into work, and I think she's done something. There's somebody taking over anyway, but she cancelled a day, I think, so she wouldn't be there. So she's quarantined herself, which is really sensible, and it's sort of prompted me to think, actually, that's what we need to do. I hadn't thought about it, but that made me think about it. And then this incident today made me think, hold on a minute. So that was our last art. There is an art class on Thursday next week, but we won't go. So I said to Mark, this will be our last one now until after your surgery. I've got a hair appointment on Saturday, and I've now cancelled that. And my hairdresser said to me, yeah, you're right, there's a lot of it about. I know people say that there's a lot of it about, but people on my Facebook are saying it's on the rise, there's a lot about. And we used to be able to look, didn't we? There used to be places, there used to be websites that you could go onto and look and see what was going on, and I can't find anything now. I suppose all that stopped. And we had a COVID app, didn't we? I had some sort of app on my phone that showed my vaccination status and what was going on in France, and I'm not really sure where to look. I haven't looked anyway. So I cancelled my hair appointment. So actually now is Thursday, and apart from Ludo, who still hasn't coming tomorrow morning, but he'll be outside, and my daughter coming for dinner on Sunday, that'll be it. We've got nothing happening next week, so we'll be, hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll have missed any. We had Vicky here this morning. Fingers crossed she's well and isn't carrying anything. I think that's the issue, isn't it? Is that people don't realise not only these women that came today are still infectious, that that you can be carrying something and not having symptoms days before you become aware that you're sick. So, you know, hopefully Vicky didn't have anything or wasn't carrying anything with her today, and we'll be fine. So I've put everything in place because that's the way I am, and other people might not do that, but I'm not willing to put Mark's surgery at risk. It's you know, after waiting and after planning, you know, everything's planned towards it. So that's what I've done. What else? We were really cold here this morning, really cold. The temperature outside when we went out to art was only 13, I think. It just felt cold, but I think we were cold indoors, and I think that we've agreed that when we sit down at 7 o'clock to watch Line of Duty, that Mark will have lit a fire just to warm the house up a bit, because it's been getting cold. And it was really sort of overcast and cloudy this morning, very heavy cloud, as if it was going to rain, and it didn't. And then there were a few spots of rain, but yeah, it's much lighter now, much brighter. But yeah, not good. Autumn's come really soon, it feels to me. The cold weather's come soon, and it's not planned. The weather forecast doesn't, it's showing it not getting much better for the next few days. So this is tea. I sometimes forget to make a cuppa. It's not something I have as a matter of course, and yeah, I sometimes forget, and I always 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and it's like, this is such a nice time to have a cup of tea. I've been drinking coffee, well, not coffee all day, but I've only had coffee today. I've had coffee at home. I have a coffee at Cleo's. So she's struggling a bit. Her mum's in hospital. Her mum is very old. I can't remember the age, over 90 something. So she's, yeah, I don't think she's likely to recover. So that's a bit sad. Well, it's a lot sad. I know that that's what happens when your parents get old, isn't it? You lose them. But it's not something, I think for me, the contemplation of losing her, or the prospect, or the fantasy of losing a parent was different to the actual experience of losing a parent. And I know that when my dad died, obviously it was really hard, but not as hard as I had expected, because we grow up expecting to lose our parents. I think when a parent dies in their 90s, you've done well. And I feel for people who lose their parents when they're very young, you know, when their dad or their mum dies in their 40s or even earlier, right, 50s. It's like, that's too soon, isn't it? Yeah. So when my mum died, she'd had dementia for several years, so that was a relief when she died. So I said to Joe not that long ago, I said to Joe, it's you know, that actually it's not as bad as you think it's going to be, when, you know, so when we go, it won't be as bad as you think it's going to be. Some people don't talk about stuff like this, do they? But I do. So Tina says mice don't like hairspray. That's interesting. And Bastinor says apparently mice are like me. Well, apparently mice are like me, but I don't know what to do with the hairspray. I've got hairspray because I use it on my pastels. And Linda talks about buying chicken in England and not knowing what to buy. And we have a similar, I don't remember it because I tend not to look, but we do have similar levels of chicken and buying eggs, you know, certain things mean they've had a better chance. But organic chicken here is expensive, and the beef we buy is organic, and the pork we buy is organic, and the chicken we buy isn't, and I feel bad about that, but I carry on buying it, and I'm not going to beat myself up. Yeah, not going to beat myself up about that. Somebody said, Sarah says, we have close relatives and friends who live in Asheville, North Carolina. Complete devastation, still no water, no electricity, no mobile phone service. It will take months, if not years, to rebuild the infrastructure. And that's if the government will help with funding. No help can be expected if Trump wins the election. Or you might get kitchen rolls. I think I read or heard that, you know, or somebody may have written it on my vlog, that some of these places that have been devastated don't normally get hurricanes. I think it's the inland, it's like North Carolina, don't normally suffer this sort of weather. So, you know, they may not have been prepared in the way places that are used to it are prepared. Yeah, I still can't believe that we had that day at the beach. It went so quickly. We were very lucky to have that weather. Anyway, so quarantined from now on. It'll be a long trawl, but worth it, hopefully, and we'll keep well. And Vicky's looking to see if she can come a bit sooner than she would normally, so she can help me with bringing wood in and getting stuff ready for when Mark comes home, because she comes every 2 weeks, so the next time she's due is probably the day he's due home, if he comes home on the same day he came home before. So we'll see. Anyway, I need to take some analgesia now because I'm in pain. I didn't take any. I had analgesia yesterday lunchtime, just after lunch, and I had nothing. And I went to bed last night and I said to Mark, I've not had any analgesia all day since lunchtime. Didn't need it, didn't feel any pain. Slept, had a poor night, but not due to pain, just due to having a poor night. Woke this morning, took a paracetamol, which is what I usually do, which is sort of just a prophylactic paracetamol. And then as the morning went on, I thought, oh, I'm beginning to feel the consequences of not having painkillers. So I had a ibuprofen at lunchtime, as I normally do, but I now need something stronger because I'm beginning to hurt around my neck and around my shoulders. So I'm going to take some strong painkillers now. And see you again in the not too distant future, I'm sure. Thanks for watching. Don't tell me about COVID's not a real thing, coronavirus isn't a real thing. Don't tell me about that. Don't tell me your anti-vax stories. Don't tell me your anti-mask stories, because I am not interested. Thank you.